Morning all, how we doing? So late this morning, Thursdays are really difficult for me. I have a spin class at 6:45. So by the time I get back, I've had a shower, it's like, panic, don't have time. Anywho, I'm here. How's everybody doing? Morning Rahat, morning Franco. What have I had a trade on yesterday on the DAX, which just closed out this morning. That's that one I took yesterday, late in the day after that huge push. Just closed that out this morning. I put a trading stop on it basically because I had to go out. So I trailed it, just got taken out. Would have got taken out by that huge wick anyway. So and I've put an oil trade on this morning. I got stopped out on oil yesterday on this huge move down, and it actually blew this account. This is an evaluation account at the moment, a 5k 50k account, 5k target. I got 1500 trailing drawdown. This wick took me out for more than my stop. I'm not quite sure why it took me out for more than my stop. I didn't actually have a look at how fast the move was, how much slippage there was on that, but I got slipped on that. And it took me out for more than my stop loss, which happens, obviously, and that screwed me. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure why I got slipped on that, but I got filled down here somewhere. My stop was up here. So, anyhow, so that account just got blown. This is why I hate these trailing stops these prop firms use. It's not realistic. So far, I've banked 560 this morning. I've got 356 running in profit, but you know, just because I took a little loss yesterday doesn't mean I should be failing. I've got $3,000 worth of drawdown to use, but my main gripe with prop firms, this stupid trailing drawdown. They should give you a fixed drawdown and that's it. That's the way traders work. But anyway, gripe over. So I've got these running this morning. I'm targeting just a highs day at the moment on oil. I think we're going to get a push today after that drop yesterday, but we'll see what happens on it. So got a few minutes to the open. News-wise today is big news day. It's Euro news day. Morning, Andy. So 12:45, we've got the Euro rates. Followed by the ECB press conference at 1:30 when CPI is released. So this morning, I suspect we'll rotate on most pairs ahead of this because they're going to be waiting for to see what actually happens with the news there. That's going to be a big one. There's whisperings of that not being flat. I don't know. Don't know what's. I don't know what's quite where this is coming from, whether there's been a leak out of the ECB. Lagarde is unlikely to leak anything, but there is whispers of them changing their policy based on what's happened in the last 2 weeks. So obviously this rate was announced prior, obviously, to the war, or this expected rate was announced prior to the war. So we'll see what happens with that. That could have quite a devastating effect on the euro, on everything today, basically. So we'll see. But yeah, big day potentially today. Morning, Peter. I haven't had a look at the markets because I've only just stepped in. So US dollar, obviously we had a down day on the US dollar yesterday. Quite a big down day. Which is why we had that massive up day on the indices. We're coming down into potential accumulation here. So we'll see if we get the bounce from there. Markets are open. DAX is open. Let's just have a quick look at what else we've got going on at the moment. So Nasdaq, we had big strong push. All the indices, big strong pushes yesterday. Was trying to short this yesterday. Could not get the higher yesterday. It basically put in a massive day yesterday. All the indices, we didn't come off the highs at all, did we, yesterday? So big, strong pushes on all indices yesterday. So today, looking for a down day across the board. So we'll see what happens. We haven't really gone anywhere so far on the indices. So not sure where we're going to go at the open. We may well have another little push up and try and retest yesterday's high and then come back down from there, but we'll see. So just looking basically for sort of some kind of guidance as to whether or not we're going to have a push up at the start of the day. But obviously all indices are still bear market. People are still pulling money out of stocks, and there's no reason why we shouldn't come down and retest all these lows. So still bearish on everything. Just I was expecting it to sort of kick in a little bit sooner yesterday, which it didn't. So that's the plan. I'm going to keep an eye on the FTSE today, along with the DAX. We'll have a look at all the ADRs and everything and RSIs. There's nothing hit on ADR today so far. We'll have a look at all the RSIs, etc. as well in a bit, but let's concentrate on what's happening with the DAX at the open. How did everybody do yesterday? Anybody manage to extract any money yesterday? Shocking day yesterday. So just by the way, obviously, this is a new evaluation account I started. So fingers crossed this time won't get any crazy moves. And I was a bit over leveraged on it. So I'm actually, that's a good point. Just going to reduce my risk down this morning. A little bit too much risk on for this size of drawdown, unfortunately. Big opening range to start with. Got out of your shorts on the S&P at 42.80 late yesterday evening. A few points profit. Yeah, looking for shorts today. Ended up with just over $100. Well, yeah, it's positive. Ended up with $100. Okay, big open. Much bigger open than yesterday. Blimey. That's a big opening range today. Blimey. How are we going to trade that? Guess we're looking for shorts. Wow. That really is not happy this morning, is it? Why didn't you take one out the gates today, Lee? Okay, FTSE's pulling off the lows. Are we going to get the inverse of this move today? Take a short and trail it on the 20. Maybe that's the play today. Okay, 10 seconds to this candle's closed. That is a big old candle, that is. 130 at the open. Wow. Right, what do we do with that? The mother of all bearish engulfings. Just give this a bit of time to establish itself, I think. Decent pullback on the FTSE. Well, I closed a broker account. Oh yeah, Franco, that was your hideous broker account you were with that locked your funds, wasn't it? Morning, Neo. Not sure if you can use them, Franco, but Axie, going short one. Axie and Robo Forex are pretty good. I've not had any problems with them. I'll check out the FX in a bit, Jason. I'm just going to play the open at the minute. Okay, FTSE's pulling back inside that opening move. Got a lot of room to play with this morning. That's really hard to trade. I get the feeling we just put in the move for the morning and we're going to sit and do that for the rest of the morning until 12:45. I'm not sure this is going to be very tradable this morning. Morning, Adrian. Let's just have a quick look at what the US markets are up to. Similar sort of open on the US. Whew, blimey. Nasty. What's oil doing? Sitting around at the minute. Almost retraced the entire move of the open on the FTSE. Morning, Mark. Yeah, that's going to be a bit tight today, isn't it? 8,000 to go for. Just going to put trading stops on this if it goes into profit. I'm going to try and hold it today rather than scalp. Basically looking for a decent drop today. Retracement on this move. I think we're going down today, but if not, we should really get a retracement on this move, logically, at least down into that gap from that accumulation. So New York took it the same way as London and Frankfurt. So all the longs built up there were executed there. I would at least expect them to come down and test this area today, if they were to take it higher. Which I don't think they're going to. Let's just have a quick look at what the euro's up to as well. That might give us a few clues. Yeah, so the euro's retracing. Thinking about it this morning. We had massive euro movement, obviously, yesterday across the board. It's opening. It's not really opening weak, is it? It's opening. Yes. It's not opening strong, so I would expect this DAX trade to work out. Might go one more short down there. Just going to increase the size of that position to 0.5%, just based on the euro movement. because the euro's pulling back quite hard on that move. So potentially, excuse me, you could get the same movement on the DAX. See if we can get this opening range low broken. Excuse me. Oh God, I haven't got COVID. Euro odd. Let's have a quick look at these FX pairs while we're waiting for the market to kick in. So yeah, Euro odd, Euro New Zealand. No idea today. I would be shorting these. They're both the same pair, so you only trade one or the other because it's the same thing, basically, Euro odd and Euro New Zealand. This is the one I've been saying about. This is where I would expect the retracement to be if we're going to get a retracement that deep. Otherwise, down. There's no reason why the euro should be pumping unless Lagarde comes out at 12:45 and changes the excuse me, the overnight rates. And obviously anything is released in the ECB press conference at 1:30 that we're not expecting that is going to be bullish for the euro. But at the moment, there's very little you can have bullish about the euro with what's going on in Ukraine. NATO basically is all over Europe, and it's going to take one false move by Russia or NATO to spark this into a bigger escalated war, and that is Europe in it, and that is not going to be good for the euro. And you can see that obviously in this people pulling the money out of the euro. It's losing value. Massive interest rates. There's nothing good about the euro at the minute, as we can see by the DAX as well. FTSE's retracing that move. So we've got 2% potential levels that should act as support on the way down. So I'm going to try and hold this today and go for a trail somewhere on the 20 or 200, that's 20 or the 50 moving averages. I might just keep scaling in and scaling out on the way down though, assuming that we are going to go down, and just keep banking along the way. But we'll see how far we get. Haven't got a massive amount of risk on this one this morning. Oil's pushing nicely good. US indices are tanking as well. Oh, why didn't I put 0.5% risk on these instead of a quarter? Being tentative this morning. It's always the way. Reduce your risk, reduce your position sizing. Trade of the week turns up. Okay, I'm just going to let that run and see where we get to. Just going to see when my trailer is going to kick in on these. So the trail is going to start to kick in around this propulsion gap. Right. While that trade's playing out, let's have a quick look at where we are with everything else. So ADRs, nothing today. As I say, this morning I wouldn't expect a massive amount of movement because we're waiting for the euro at 12:45. So we should have a fairly rotational morning, saying that everything's tanking hard off of the back of yesterday. So we'll see. This initial movement could obviously just go into a rotation or a slow grind today, but we'll see. But I wouldn't expect massive movement on the FX pairs ahead of the news. Obviously, the stock market is a little bit different because there's people buying and selling tangible stocks rather than FX, which is obviously manipulated by the banks. So not much happening on FX across the board at the moment. Hourlies, we've got the Euro Swiss off the back of yesterday. So yesterday's move on the euro was very strong, following. So it's basically a 3-day push we've had back up into a nice level of potential resistance, which we are basing at the moment. So potentially drops from here. Morning, Stevie. So we are extended on the RSI. We've got embedded and extended. So looking at M5 reversal alerts for entries, which you've just got this morning. So it's pulling back at the moment for potential retest entry into this propulsion gap. So if that retests and starts to go bearish, potentially a nice entry there. But I get the feeling today we are going to see potential whipsaw on these, but they are extended nicely. Euro Swiss. The other one was the Euro Yen, wasn't it? Yeah. Again, yen, we had a much bigger move on that because we had a weak yen. So again, 3-day push, big strong move up into resistance. We didn't quite get to the same place on this one, but we did get into this kind of accumulation before the drop started. See, there's a propulsion gap from that drop, which we've come and tapped into, and we're just accumulating around that in a minute. So again, same sort of play on this one, short. There's no reason, as I say, why we should be seeing any strength on the euro unless Lagarde comes out and says anything to the contrary. Crikey, we've got a V-shaped recovery on that one. Look, shows you how weak that yen's been. Euro's beating it. So that one's obviously just got extended on the 4-hour as well. So looking at the 4-hour extensions, you've got the same thing. You've got the Euro Swiss, you've got the Euro Yen, and you've got the Euro Pound as well, which is extended based off the fact that we've had that weakness on the pound. But the pound's just started to sort of rally a little bit, but nothing dramatic. Again, the euro and the pound are moving in very, very similarly at the moment, which is worrying. We should be having a long bias on the pound, but as you can see, the euro is way, way, way stronger than the pound at the moment. So this one, obviously, we've just had a liquidity run potentially on that move. Anybody that entered short on there that was holding long term for a swing lower is out. So they've grabbed all that liquidity there. Whether or not they're going to come up for a second bite of the cherry on everybody that's shorting that double top, don't know. And we'll see that happening potentially in the euro is the rate announcement at 12:45. But again, euro short, but the pound is obviously very, very short at the moment. So this is probably not the best of the two to take. Probably the euro yen is the safer one to take. But the ECB obviously is going to be releasing rate announcements and news about potential monetary policy over the next 6 to 12 months. The pound has got no news whatsoever. So if we get weakness off of the euro, regardless of what the pound does, this is coming down anyway. So we just don't know what impact this afternoon's news is going to have on the euro at the moment. So it's just a case of waiting and seeing, unfortunately. US dollar yen, big strong push up to the highs. This is one we were looking at for that potential top. We broke it. It's been basically, you can see obviously the resistance there. We've tapped into it, we finally got through it. Now it's been support 5 times and we're off. So we're coming up here. So strength on the US dollar, weakness on the indices, which is what we're seeing starting this morning. So yeah, a bit more of a push up on that one. And then obviously it depends on US dollar, but US dollar, as with everything at the moment, news by the day is going to affect everything. We don't know which way anything's going at the minute because of what's going on in the Ukraine. So technically extended, but I'm technically long or fundamentally long on the US dollar. So wouldn't look for too much of a pullback on that. But who knows at the minute? World is a mystery at the moment. So are the markets. Oil, decent push, still going. Seeing reversals on EJ and GJ just popped up on 15 minute. Yeah. Do you suggest trading stocks indices instead of Forex? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm obviously trading indices at the moment. I'm not trading FX at the minute. The indices, obviously, FX is... They're completely different markets. Let me just quickly cover gold because we were looking at gold longs, and then I'll go into that in a bit more detail. So we've hit support. Yeah, buy it. We should be seeing inflation in gold the same way as we are in oil at the moment. All commodities, metals, everything up. Everybody's putting their money into tangible objects which are going to become rarer and more difficult to get hold of, therefore more expensive. So things like gold, same thing. Although, saying that, demand for gold will probably slightly drop as inflation rises because our pockets are being hit. But a lot of the gold that is bought is actually going into things like semiconductors and electronics. Obviously, it's used as a conductor as well. So there is still demand on that side of things. And as we get more of the precious metals like the palladiums and things which are going to become a lot more difficult to get hold of, and copper, things like that, you'll see probably all metals just continue to go, regardless of what our demand is on gold rings and things like that. That's not really what pushes gold price. Gold price is pushed more by the economic uses for it. So we are at a beautiful support on that. We have actually touched 38, haven't we? We touched it there. So looks like a lovely long. I'm tempted to take a long on gold, but every time I trade gold, I get stung. So I'm not going to do it. So to answer your question, Rahat, obviously FX is manipulated. The FX markets are completely manipulated by the banks. That's how the banks make their money with all their speculative moves on those. I've got 0.5% on that in a minute. I'm just going to close one out and wait for a pullback. I'm going to let that one run. So the FX markets, obviously, the things that affect the FX markets are manipulation by the banks, and obviously economics affects the FX market and what the banks and the central banks decide to do, and central governments, whether they want to inflate. So basically central governments are in charge of inflation or deflation of their currencies by manipulating interest rates and everything else. So the banks know the overall direction that these things are going to go into, and they will basically push the price. So it's heavily manipulated. Stock market is bought and sold, i.e. if stocks are cheap, people will buy them. If stocks are expensive, people will sell them. So there's not really the manipulation goes on in indices that you see here. And this is why indices tend to be much more stable. And this is why most people trade them. Yeah. So you have a much more stable movement on indices, regardless of whether they're going up and down or whether we're in a bull market or a bear market. It's the old overbought, oversold situation. Yeah, when a stock is cheap, people buy them. When a stock is expensive, people sell them. Yeah. So that's basically why it's better to trade things like stocks at the moment, because it's more of a tangible asset. You're going to basically see more regular movement in them. So they're safer to trade. But with indices, you tend to trend trade them. Yeah. So for the last 2 years, I've been trend trading the S&P. Yeah, this is my pension fund. I've been buying the dips on the S&P and making money every time we get a dip, because we've been in a bull market. That was the first signs of danger. We might be entering a bear market, and we rallied, and everyone went, no problem, going higher. And then we had the Christmas rally, Santa rally, and we went, yeah, brilliant, as normal, we're going higher, and then boom, that happened. Then we had Ukraine happening here. So we moved into a bear market. So now basically you sell. You're looking for shorts. You're always looking to short the markets at the moment rather than long them. Obviously, on a smaller time frame, you can do both. But overall, you're much safer being in a bear position, obviously in a short position in a bear market. And this is obviously, you can see this by the 24 and the 72 moving averages. Again, stocks work on quarterly reporting. We have earnings reports, don't we, every quarter? Yeah. So this is the quarterly moving average. This is the monthly moving average. Yeah, it all works in the same way. So you basically are looking at the moment for shorts if you want to be trading it. So if you want to set the EA on the indices, if you've got the market reversal alert EA, you short it. Yeah, just set it up for shorts only, and you'll be pretty safe. But like with everything, a bear market will end and turn into a bull market. We don't know when that's going to happen. So, the S&P is an investment vehicle. The S&P is manufactured to inflate every year, which is why the pension funds use them, and that's why I use it as a pension fund. Yeah. So I have an account which I run, which is trading long-term daily pullbacks, and I've been pumping money into it. Here, I lost money. Yeah. And then I scaled out of my longs here for a loss and waited. And I haven't gone back into this because I wanted confirmation of the bear market, which we then got, and then the war broke out. So at the moment, I'm flat on my pension account. But the amount of money I've made here is way more than that tiny little dip. So right now, assume we are going to hug 24.72. And that's why it's easier to trade indices and why everybody loves them, because you've always got a bias. And the daily as well, you've always got a bias on the daily. It's very, very orderly, yeah. Not at the moment, it's a little less orderly, but like I was saying yesterday, 3 down days pullback, 3 down days pullback, 3 down days pullback, 1 down day, 3 up days pullback, 3 down days pullback. We got 4 down days in that case, but 3 to 4 days in a pullback is very, very typical and what we see. So they're easy to trade from that perspective. I've got 0.4. Going to close that out. I'm going to wait for a pullback and jump back in. So if you look at going back in time to when it was logical, yeah, what you tend to find is somewhere between a 7 to 10 day rally before we get a pullback. So we had a pullback, yeah. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had a little bit of a quicker pullback there than normal. But you tend to get these multi-day rallies and pullbacks. Multi-day rallies, deep pullback. Multi-day rally, pullback. Yeah, and it keeps doing that over and over and over again. So you've always got a bias, which makes them a lot easier to trade. And if you were to basically, exactly what I've been doing for the last, 2.5 years, literally every time you see this thing get below the 24, you buy it. End of day, buy it. If it goes down the next day, you buy it. If it goes down the next day, you buy it. You get out. Every time it gets below the 24, you buy it. You get out. 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 Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Out. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Out. Buy it. Wouldn't have ridden that. I don't trail it, basically. I tend to scalp it. Not scalp it. I hold it for a couple of days and then put money in the bank. And to be honest, I tend to miss most of these. Half of these, at least. But if I see a pullback starting, I'm in. It's just now, obviously, we've got to do it in reverse. And look at the volumes. Look at the normal candlesticks on the S&P. When we get a big down day, that's when you want to be buying up. Look at the candlesticks that we're getting now, the size of movement at the moment. It's just astronomically bigger than we're used to. So, okay, got pullback starting. Blimey. Still going. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, making a nice setup long 1 hour. 4 hour. Yeah, nice little short up at the highs there. Again, just got to be very careful with these at the moment. Anything US dollar. We're expecting US dollar strength to come through. So, yeah, looks like a lovely short setup. Range-bound short setup at the moment. Just had the reversal alert and the retest, but we haven't gone anywhere because we haven't had that US dollar strength coming through. But that should start up again. But New Zealand dollar obviously flipped as a long as well. And then we flipped short again on it. So, again, it's all over the place. Wow. Got out of that one a bit early, but doesn't look like we're even going to get a pullback on this thing today. Catastrophic. So there's my target for the initial positions that I put in yesterday. Just got stopped out on those, unfortunately. But this is where I'm looking for a reaction. So potentially little long here. To just get a little bit of a pullback to the 24. To the 20. This could be something to pull back onto M1. Wow, it's hugging it, isn't it? It's the trouble with getting out of trades. You can never get back into them. Do not want to get in the way of this today. Not happy. Dow looked like it wanted to do a bit of a recovery there, but didn't quite make it. Is that UAE will not act on its own to raise oil output? Coming up to a round number, 13,500. So we could see a bounce off of that if we get down to there. Round about there. Let's make it properly. So looking to maybe get a bounce down here. This propulsion gap is potentially where we might see some buying pressure start to step in. And if so, if we can get a push back up into the 2050 zone, or accumulate down here and wait for the 20 to come down on top, add into another short potentially there. See what happens. Don't really want to chase this. I'm desperate to hit the short button on this because I've got a feeling this thing's going to come down like a house of cards today, but everything's starting to struggle. FTSE as well. We're just stepping into that propulsion move. No, it didn't really come out of an accumulation. That's more likely the move which got bought up, that we would potentially find support on the FTSE. A nice reversal alert on that. Aaron, can I load your programs on demo? Yeah, so basically any of the indicators, dashboards you can't, because I mean dashboards are dashboards. They're literally just monitoring all the pairs and timeframes and everything for those. So I mean, because demos that you get from MQL5, you can only get those from, you can only use them in the strategy tester. But yeah, any of my indicators or EAs or anything you're interested in, it's all there. I'll put a link in the chat. You can just download a demo from the MQL5 marketplace to run in the strategy tester. But obviously dashboards are no use in the strategy tester. But you can see what they're doing. They're monitoring RSI and they're monitoring average daily range hits. Speaking of average daily range, where is it today? It's miles away. See, the ADR on these things is so massive now. 664 bips. It's huge. Okay, we've got pullback on the FTSE, pullback on the DAX. MT4 is my skeleton framework. Well, yeah, MT4 is the software. Yeah, I use. You can use MT4 or MT5, either or. They're both. I prefer MT4 personally, just because there's more indicators available. It's more stable. It doesn't have updates pushed out for it, which break everything. And I just like it. I've used it for 10 years, and I'm used to it. But you can use MT5. A lot of people use MT5 because a lot of people are trading all these synthetic indices, which are deriv.com, and they're MT5 only. But personally, I prefer MT4. MT5's never really taken off to the extent they expected it to, because it pretty much is the same as MT4. The strategy tester is slightly better in it. Apart from that, there's not really any advantages to using MT5, in my opinion anyway, but each to their own. Just things break in MT5, I find. Indicators conflict more. It's just not as tight. Well, you wouldn't expect it to be. I mean, MT4 is an established piece of software, so. Meaning of fall in the S&P is fundamental mostly, or because of poor earnings or profit trades. So we're not in earnings at the moment. This is likely a profit take move off of yesterday's buying, and combined with people jumping out of stocks. Basically, we're in a bear market. People are pulling money out of stocks. Companies are underperforming. Therefore, their stock values are dropping. Bear in mind, all of these indices, this is the Germany 30 or Germany 40 as it is now. Don't know why they haven't changed the ticker on it, but it's 40 companies now. That's the UK 100. So these are the top 100 performing stocks and top 40 performing stocks in Germany and the UK. So all this price here is an amalgamation of the share price of those 40 companies. Amalgamation of the share price of those 100 companies. So as earnings come out, companies underperform, their stock value drops, this goes down. So it's like it says, it's an index of all of those companies. So when we have things like we have going on at the moment, things like people like BP, Coca-Cola, Unilever, all these companies, McDonald's, that are pulling out of Russia, what impact is that going to have on their bottom lines? So McDonald's does what? 600 million every quarter in Russia, for example. I'm just picking numbers out of the air. I have no idea what they do. But let's say they make 600 million a quarter every year, every quarter out of Russia. They're not going to do that for the next 6 months. What is that going to have an impact on their stock price? Are they going to go up or down? It's going to go down. Markets are tanking. Everybody's pulling out of Russia. But everybody was pulling out of stocks because we think we've got a depression starting and inflation rising, which means everybody's pockets gets tighter, which means we spend less, which means stock prices drop. Then the war started. So that's basically what we're seeing. But this move here is just a normal move. We get these big propulsion moves happening. Bear in mind what we're looking at here on M5 is just a normal candle. Yeah, we get big candles on stocks and everything, don't we? It's just a big candle. That's all it is. But potentially today, we're going to have lots of big candles. Took my fib off. So that's the total move so far. That is yesterday's move. So if you look at the fib retracements potentially on these, shallow pullback long, average pullback long will be somewhere around the 50. Deep pullback will be somewhere down there. And obviously, every possibility we're going to do a 100% drop today. Didn't quite get down to 13,500. Close though. So looking for shorts to get in again on this. Franco, you worked in Wall Street for 10 years. Asked senior trader in the office, what's the deal with derivatives? He said, it's the end of the world. Yeah. We've got a massive drop forecast. Like the depression of the 19 whatevers it was when we had the Great Depression is like tip of the iceberg compared to what they're thinking we've got coming. I said it yesterday, didn't I? I got an email from my electricity, my energy supplier, who I've been on a fixed term with for the last year, saying, do you want to renew your £288 a month you pay at the moment? If you want to do that in May, the new contract is £695 a month. More than double what I've been paying for the last 12 months. So I've now got to find £700 a month just to turn my lights on. And this is not the end of it. This is what's happening in April. In October, it's going up again. And we haven't even got inflation rising to levels where it's forecast to go. It's going to come to the point where basically I won't be streaming anymore because I can't afford to turn the computer on. If it carries on like this, it's just unbelievable the amount of hardship we're going to start to see. And this is before the war started kicking in, It's like, bleh. Don't want to be a doomsayer, but stuff all seems to be going wrong at exactly the same time in the last 3 years. Not looking good, is it? Banks have been making so much money. Short one might be a little early on this, but Wow, that's a real delay then. Did you see that when I hit that button? My order went in there and it actually jumped down. Big slippage on that. This might be a little bit early, this trade. We're nowhere near the 24, but I've just got the feeling this might come down hard today. So we just had reversal alert kick in there. Whoops. Coincidence or something more sinister? What's that, Peter? What, the fact that everything is happening at once? Yeah. Who knows? It's Putin's master plan to accumulate the entire wealth of the entire world. Come to Kansas City, cheap rent, great barbecue and fun bars. Missouri Farm Girls. Yes. I'm going to move to a desert island. I'm going to go and take over Richard Branson's island. Let's check what my oil's doing. Little pullback starting on oil. Just a quick roundup of what's going on. So US dollar pushing. Let's see where we've got to go on the Dixie today. So we had a gap fill to do, which we did this morning. Anybody catch the gap fill? I didn't look at gaps this morning because I wasn't around, but so that level potentially there in this propulsion gap there is where we're initially heading today, assuming we break out the Asian range, that is. And then obviously off from there. Big accumulation for the last couple of days, but hopefully yesterday was the pullback on the US dollar. Seemed to slow down a little bit on the DAX rather. What's happened to the cryptos over the last couple of days? Oh, wow. What a mess. That's why I don't trade these things. No idea what they're doing, have they? At all. Really sold off today. What was that all about? Right, so US dollar's coming down against the yen. So we're nearly down at that support level, which is the support rectangle on the indicator as well. So pull down into there, bounce. US dollar Swiss. We're just taking out those highs. Again, it looks like it wants a little bit of a pullback. The trouble is we've got no Swiss franc movement at the moment. There's no money coming into the Swiss at all. Haven't the elites been buying up islands? I don't know, have they? That would make sense. Yeah. All the elite know there's a nuclear war coming, so they buy up all the islands, go and move to the islands, which are miles away from any land that's ever going to get hit by a nuke. They inherit the earth. It's a master plan. You could make it sounds like something out of a James Bond movie, doesn't it? What's going on at the moment? US dollar CAD. So you're not a lot of movement on the FX pairs at the moment. Oops, let's do a new chart for some reason. Strong yen. Looks like we got a fairly strong yen. We got a weak pound at the open as well. We'll have a weak euro, obviously, because we're seeing the DAX flying down. Euro's still coming down. These euro shorts, I'm tempted to take a short on something euro ahead of the rate announcement, but I'm just a bit worried about getting whipsawed out. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll probably go euro US, I think. So what I'm going to do for the so 12:45 is the announcement of the rates. So I'm just going to see where we get to today during the London session, because obviously this is end of the London session, lunchtime. So I'm going to see where we are in London. I suspect what we may well see is a little bit of an accumulation back in here. Not too sure about this trade because I think we might sit and we've done the move for the session, but I'm going to look to take a short today. So what I'm probably going to do is just look at the hourly chart and have a look at what happens with the rate announcement and have a fairly decent stop above yesterday's high and basically go for a short. So I would have a pending order sitting underneath wherever we are as a low. And then one of two things is going to happen. We are either going to push up, assuming we get what is expected, which is to be to a negative move on the euro. Assuming we get that, we're either going to get a liquidity run of the highs to go and grab, because obviously everybody's now shorting the euro, aren't they? Yeah, including me, because I'm shorting the DAX. So everyone's shorting the euro. Anybody that's shorting the euro at the moment is stuck. They're stopped there because they've seen that 50% retracement. They're all jumping in short. So everybody's stop is going to be there. All the liquidity is going to be sitting above yesterday's high. So the move from the banks would be to move up, take that liquidity, and then run. We may see a push down, which will entice everybody short, like me, who will get in with a pending order with a stop up there, and then they'll run up, take that stop, and run. So the plan is to get short. If I get stopped out, no problem. I'll get short again, and then play a short on it. If Lagarde comes out and says, if the rates come out differently to expected, or Lagarde comes out and says something bullish, obviously we will see the inverse happen. We will see that basically scream to the upside, which I don't want to trade. So I'm only interested in shorting the euro. Even if something comes out bullish and we get that screaming move to the upside, likelihood is the market is just overreacting and they're going to suddenly go, actually, no, we're in the middle of a war. And it will come down in the same way as we had previous. Yeah, this move here was off the rates. And everyone was like, and then the ECB turned around and went, no, you think you've overreacted? Oh, yeah, sure we have. So that is the alternative where everybody piles into the euro and gets it wrong and then suddenly realises what they've done. So that's kind of my plan this afternoon for the euro US dollar. At the moment, obviously, it's tanking. So the further it comes down today, obviously, the further and harder it is for them to manipulate it back up. But we'll see. The other option, obviously, is I get in a short on it and it just does what I expect it will do, which is just come down for the day and not stop. And then I'll get out at the end of the day. But that's my plan on the euro this afternoon anyway. Do I want to short one more down here? I might wait a little bit. So yes, that's plan on euro. We've got some definite yen strength coming through at the moment. All the yen's coming down hard. So there's a lot of yen money coming into the yen this morning. So we are getting some reversals starting off of RSI extensions now. Market's starting to look a little bit more natural. I'm going to give it the end of this week, and then I might start position trading again next week. But like I said, I really want to see what happens with Ukraine. If there's nothing happening this week and over the weekend with the Ukraine, I really just do not want to get into positions, because at any moment everything can just flip, can't it? So it's a little bit dangerous. I got Grenada on my mind in the future. Yeah. Move to Ireland might be a nice idea. I know an Aussie trader that decided to move to Da Nang in Vietnam, and he lives there. He lives like a king on $2,000 a month. Yeah. I spent 3 months in Thailand and Vietnam, and literally I ate like a king every day for $5. A bucket of Sang Som whiskey is like $2.50, and I'm talking a bucket. They bring it out in a bucket, like a kid's bucket and spade. They bring you out a bucket of Sang Som whiskey, which is half a bottle of whiskey mixed with whatever you want, in a bucket with a straw for $2.50. That's where you want to go if you want to live like a king. Thai people are amazing as well. Really, really nice people. I'd love to go back there. I was there for the tsunami. That wasn't much fun. But anyway. So still coming down on the yens. So got a bit of a pullback starting. Got potentially second leg of a pullback kicking in at the moment. So this is what I was talking about with an accumulation. So one of two things tends to happen with moving averages. You either get price pulling back to the moving average and then collapsing off of the moving average, or you get an accumulation where the moving average comes down on top of price and then pushes it down for the second leg. So this is what most people tend to call a flag. Basically, moving average comes down onto price and pushes it down for the second leg. But obviously the other option is we are putting in a reversal back up to resistance, in which case I'll get stopped out. Massive hangovers though. Yeah, Sang Som whiskey. I woke up on the beach in Thailand, Koh Phangan, after drinking Sang Som whiskey all night. And you don't just have one bucket of Sang Som, you have multiple buckets. Yeah, woke up on the beach. Has anybody been to Hat Rin in Thailand? Hat Rin on Koh Phangan, Hat Rin Beach. It's where the full moon parties are, basically. We had a hut on the beach in Hat Rin, and waking up after a full moon party, it looks like there's been a mass murder. Literally, the beach is littered with bodies, and it's just everybody has just passed out in the sand, and there's people half lying in the water, people covered in sand, half naked people. It's just utter debauchery. And it costs you like $15 for the entire night. It's amazing. The hut will cost you like $20 for the night. So, but yeah, if you're not too old, at some point in your life, get to Hat Rin Beach. Whoa, big move, big pullback on the DAX. Stopping out on that. Maybe not. Not quite sure what that was. Or is. Big correction. Just been taken out. There's a 0.25 loss. Big dump on oil as well. I've just been taken out of one of my oil positions. Try and have the short on this. Just wait to see what happens with this candle. I've got a feeling that is just an accumulation short. Aaron, you enjoy and learn a great deal watching me trade. Great mentoring experience. Cool. That's what it's for. Oil's collapsing. Something's just happened. I can't see any news coming in at the moment. Something's just happened there though. Just got a big dump on oil. All the indices are spiking. This could just be a pullback, but it looks a little bit violent for a pullback. Right, I'm just taking a short under that 1 minute candle, 0.5%. We've got big rejection there still, so this could just be the pullback to the 20, which is where we want to be buying it up, selling it rather. But I'm just going to give it a bit of time to show me it is actually just a pullback rather than a bearish move, a bullish move rather. No, it's off. So cancel that off. Franco, sorry if I can't identify it. I'm not eating it. Large expat communities in Asia. Yeah, loads of Brits and Americans and all sorts in Asia. One of the most hideous things I ate. No, it wasn't hideous. It was actually really nice. But I ate in Vietnam. There's sellers in the streets on the corners with these huge kind of like frying pans, if you like, full of nice fried food. There was cockroaches, there was crickets, there was all sorts. So tarantulas, deep fried tarantula. So I had a deep fried cricket. It's surprisingly nice. It's very difficult to eat. If I hadn't been drinking, I definitely wouldn't have eaten it. But it was actually, it's a little bit like a sprat, I guess, deep fried. No, like little fish. Very, very different world. Okay, so I got taken out of that oil, which is very annoying. I'm going to go one more long up there, I think. What's that? 114. Invalid stop loss. What? 111,695. Why? God, this. Oh, whatever. Just place the order for me, please. I'll adjust the stop loss myself. So I'm putting another pending just above the highs. This, I think, is where we want to be buying it back up again. But I've got a buy on already, so. Dixie took a massive tumble there, look. Which is what caused that spike. Something happened. No. Ukraine's presidential advisor, we will retake Donbass and Crimea. That's what caused that. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Literally every day we're getting something which is contrary coming out. So yesterday it was like, we're going to sit down, we're ready for peace talks, we're ready to talk about terms. Today we're going to take back Donbass and Crimea. This is just an impossible situation to trade at the minute, because if you're in a trade when somebody says something, you're stuffed. Either that or you hit TP. But the market, every time we get something contrary or something said that is likely to move the market, we get the movement in the opposite direction to what everybody is typically trading. So it's always a counter trend move we seem to be getting off the back of these silly news events, which are non-news. It's all fake news. So yeah, the whole market shook on that. Oh, look at that. Euro yen. Hello. Anybody get stopped out? Christ. Euro US. Look at that. Everybody that's entered short during the London session. Going short one on the DAX. Showing signs of rejection. We've got 50 minutes left on this candle. We just, if anything, we're going to put in probably a pullback into there at some point soon. Okay, so that bullish move, still pushing. I think I've got into this a bit early. ECB news caused the spike, plus overall drop in commodities, fear overpriced. There's no ECB news come out, is there? I haven't seen any ECB news. The only thing I've seen is that Ukraine. That was 5 minutes ago. There. We will retake Donbass and Crimea. Okay, I'm going to add into the position on a break of that low. Assuming we get this 50 bounce. Seriously thinking of moving to Mauritius for a few months, Trevor. Added bonus is the time zone makes it easier to catch the morning stream. Yeah, I'm going to get stopped out on that. Wow, this DAX is really going for it. The indices are pulling back pretty much 100%. Much deeper pullback. Why is the market reacting so heavily to that news? So have you seen some ECB news somewhere that I can't see? Oh, what's my financial juice login? I don't know. Bear with me a second. I really ought to have financial juice up. Trouble is, I get financial juice on my Forex Factory feed, so I don't usually need it. I am not a robot. Sure, I had an account with financial juice. Sign up's not working. I'll do that in a minute. Interesting. Okay. So we're getting a bit of rejection there. I don't really want to move this stop, but I think probably we may be trying to get back into this gap. See. Okay, pulling back now. Conspiracy folks in the USA call Ukraine president TikTok president. You're always going to have people in the everywhere that's going to have a completely opposite opinion. But I think he's doing a good job, considering he's a comedian. Why is it in all countries we put people in charge of our countries that are comedians and actors? Yeah, we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger as a governor. We've had Reagan and other, actors becoming presidents. It's just, got a comedian running Ukraine. It's just an odd career change, isn't it? Very determined people, though. So would we be if they were attacking us like that. Not going to turn around and say, don't worry about it, are you? The movies from that little tidbit of news. We're an emotional bunch of traders, yeah. Advanced report will raise rates. Franco, where have you seen that? This is what I was talking about this morning when I first came on. There's whisperings that they're going to up the rates instead of going with zero, which will have a big impact. Which direction, I don't know. It depends which way the market is positioned. But if they do change those rates, we're going to get one hell of a move, a 300 ADR plus move. Want to try and get on the right side of it. I don't mind having 2 or 3 attempts, like the Euro US dollar, yeah. If they do come out with the rate change on that, and I need to have a few attempts to get in, if I try and get in short and it wicks me out and stops me out, that's fine. I'll take a long. If that doesn't work, I'll get stopped out. One of them will go. It's worth getting stopped out 2 or 3 times because the reward will be massive. Got this set on the 50, haven't I? 20. I'm just going to add a 0.25 short here with a stop just above that wick. I'm going to put a sell stop under the low, stop above the high. Just going to add into this position. I'm not far away from my initial position. I'm just adding another 0.25% onto it. We are showing signs of rejection here. We've got bearish engulfing form. We've got 3 minutes left on this candle yet, though, so this can go absolutely anywhere, obviously. But We are showing rejection up here. So if this is the pullback for the next leg down, this is where it's going to start potentially. So it's going to add a little one in there and just see if I can maximize the drop. I know people in low places. Yeah, if they do change the rates are rarely changed from forecast, and this is across the board on everything. If you look at everything to do with rates, it's very, very rare we get a change in rates. When they forecast it, it comes out. Every now and again they'll drop a clanger, which is not expected, and it's very, very rare, but it makes sense for it to be around this time because of what's going on. So it's one of those, if it does, it has massive ramifications on the market. The trouble is you can't tell which way it's going to go because the market isn't rational. It's looking like a nice short on the euro at the minute, but I don't want to get in yet. I'm going to wait. It's only 9:30. We've got 3 hours until the news is out, so I don't want to jump in too quick. Just got gathered into that second position. Should have really waited for this candle to close, but by the time this candle closes, if it does close as a decent bearish engulfing, I'm going to be pretty much where I was anyway. So Dixie's recovering. Still pressure coming through on the FTSE. FTSE doesn't want to drop. If this is ECB related, it would make sense that it doesn't affect the UK index as much as it would the euro. But the market is like my ex-wife, irrational. Yeah. That's not my ex-wife, by the way. It's Trevor's ex-wife. He's looking out the window to see if the car's outside. Let's be careful what I say. You never know who's watching. Okay, so we're stalling up here in a minute. This could be part of a rotational play today. Remember I said this morning we could just rotate today ahead of the ECB news. If that is the case, I've probably screwed this trade up because likelihood is we are just going to go into a hideous choppy rotation now. But we'll see what happens here. It's either going to be a second leg down or it's going to be a rotation. If it is, then I'll probably give 0.5% back. Oil's probably recovering. Yeah, we're recovering a little bit on the oil. Shame we got stopped out in that initial position, but money in the bank. Those yen moves have recovered as well. Whole market is so skittish. I mean that news there that just caused that spike. There's absolutely no foundation for that whatsoever. Some bloke that advises the president, somebody has said that he may have said that. That means absolutely nothing whatsoever. But the market is just so unbelievably skittish at the moment. We had that other comment yesterday about the being ready for, prepared for certain compromises. It's just like all this stuff is like, it does not mean anything. It's not going to do anything. It's like somebody saying something has no impact on economics whatsoever, unless it's somebody from the ECB or from the Fed saying we are going to do this in the next few months. The fact that some bloke that is an advisor to somebody else saying that we're going to do something which is pretty impossible to do with the forces you've got should not make that sort of impact on the market. It's nuts. The whole thing is, I think half the time at the minute you have to be reliant on luck. You have to be in the right direction when somebody says something like that and take it and run. It's just too unpredictable to have any logic. US dollar Swiss. Good signs of bullishness on the US dollar. Just a little bit of a pullback on the CAD. Gold was unsurprisingly not affected by that news. Still in rotation. Tight Asian range. Not interested in London. Again, all waiting for the news this afternoon. Purely at the excuse for market maker manipulation, yeah. Not so much on the indices, though. I mean, the indices don't get manipulated in the same way as the FX does, but but there's a lot of traders, obviously, hitting the bid and trading the ladders in stocks, and when they've got positions accumulated, they see something come out like that, they'll be sitting there going, right, if this pulls back 25, 30, 40 points on me, it's going to cost me X. And they will just go, close it. And that will cause everyone else to go, oh, we're dropping, we close it. And then all of a sudden it just causes that knee-jerk reaction. I know it takes one person sitting on like 2,000 contracts, 3,000 contracts in the futures market to hit the button to get out of a position. And all of a sudden it just causes that jerk reaction where everyone's like, oh, get out quick. It's like us sitting here going, if we're short on it from here and we see that happen, we're like, oh, move to break even or close it out. Looks like it's coming back. And as we close that out, we're buying in the market. Everyone else sees us buying in the market, and it just causes that chain reaction. We are a herd mentality traders, and not just us. Everybody that's manipulating the market, everybody's herd mentality. We're human beings. That's how we work. Gathered into the third position. I'm going to take some off if we get down to the bottom of this propulsion move. I'm just conscious I've now got 1.25% risk on. Got a little bit too much size on this. What is that, Franco? Are they bulls or yaks? Get along, doggy. That big green candle looks like a fake out long, yeah. That's my thoughts on it. Profit take. Potentially. It's just very quick. That's what worried me about that. It's just very quick. It's making me very cautious about this because we're also sitting at the 38 retracement at the minute. So we've come off the 38.50 level, which will be a shallow pullback long on that move, which is why I'm a little bit cautious about this short. I might take 1% off. Let's see what happens when we get down here. This area basically, obviously, if this was a bull move, bear in mind we've had an accumulation here. So if this was an accumulation long, this is where we're going to find the buyers stepping in and adding to their positions in the same way as I added to my short. The buyers will be adding to their longs here. So if that is going to happen, obviously this thing's coming back up into this gap here. If we'd have hit that gap and started to move, I'd be happier. But the fact that we didn't get up there means that this isn't potentially sellers stepping in. This is buyers adding, which obviously means I'm on the wrong side. And the fact that we're not moving. Is this my platform frozen, or is this market just stopped? Platform's frozen. Okay, we're still moving down. I don't know what's going on with the 8-cap platform, but it's not moving. Just switching over to another broker. This is Forex. Just going to monitor this. Not that I can do anything because I can't get out the bloody trade. Let me just... So I'm just getting on my tablet. Just logging in. In a sec. Right, we're still going short, yeah. Okay. Right, I'm holding, but I haven't got a choice. There we go, back again. That was worrying. Do not like brokers that freeze up on you. That's horrible. Okay, closing the most profitable trade out. Moving to break even on it. So I've banked 0.4% there. Don't forget staying out is also a position. Good reminder, Andy. Adrian, rather. Yeah. Long, short and flat. Never forget that. I'm flat on all FX at the minute. That's my position. Okay, so that's a pretty typical, potentially, if we can break this propulsion gap, that's pretty typical 2050 bounce. So we should be good down to these lows at least. And these lows are that big round number. So if we can crack that, I'd be confident of a further move down today. But we are, I'm not going to add on a break there because we've got that accumulation where potentially we're going to find some buyers. So let's see if we can get down there first and then see if I can maybe hold one of these short at break even. But I'm break even on the trade now anyway, with 0.25%, well, 0.4% banked. So This is 38 retracement level again. Market is very slow on my side as well. Is it? I don't like brokers that freeze up on you. I run a mile from those brokers. I've lost money before with platform freezes, which is why I always have a tablet and a phone next to me, which is running on cellular, because if I lose internet, I need to be able to get in my trade. My other platform was working. It was just this one that froze. So always have a backup, especially if you're scalping, because you need to be in and out quick and react fast. So retail traders just got stopped out, reversing the trades. Yeah. This is a pretty typical trend though today. Lovely move at the open. Just was not expecting that. That was a lot quicker than I wanted to see, but it is a textbook 61.8 deep pullback. Just happened very quickly. What 0.8? I'm going to close one and go to break even on the second, and I'm going to hold that one short. So I'm either going to get stopped out on a pullback. I've just got a bit of a wick coming in here. Still got a minute left on this candle, but we are looking a bit wicky. I'm just cautious. Market structure on this, obviously, potentially could be peak formation low, move up to there. So that's just why I'm closing out at the minute. I'll hold one short, but if this market structure is going to go that way, I don't want to have the whole lot disappear. I'd rather just hold this one. Banked 1200 this morning. Got 170 running. Still got that oil running. It's not really gone anywhere yet though. So annoyed I got stopped out of that. Stopped out in a profit, but still stopped out. Very annoying. That trade was, where was that trade from? Classic stop out that was. Very annoying. Okay, look. But again, you know, this is, the more times you see it happen to you, and exactly what we just had there, 61.8 retracement. The more times you see it happen, the more confident you get to get in on these. And, you know, people keep saying to me about the market reversal alerts indicator. We just had an alert short and it immediately went the other way. Yeah, this is signaling a potential shift in market structure. It's not telling you to get in short. It's showing you that market structure is shifting. What's your bias? Long. So you don't take these, you take the long bias reversal alerts. Or if you're mean reverting, you take the reversal alerts when the RSI is extended short. But fib, this is how the market, this is textbook market structure. 61.8 retracements, which is weird because we're in a market at the moment which is absolutely all over the place, yet we're still seeing market structure shifts and pullbacks working perfectly. So nice rejection there. Glad I got out of that one there. We'll see what happens on this. So there's an opportunity to add here below that low. So I might add 1/4% move in. I'm going to still keep a decent stop on it. I'm quite happy to go in with wide stops at the moment, especially with the market movement that we got at the moment. So I'm going to go sell stop under that candle. stop above the highs, and then just 0.25%. So I'm just keeping it fairly light at the minute. What is that overlap app thing you have on MT4? What do you mean overlap? Describe it better. Overlap app. Don't know what that means. Do you mean the buttons? Is that what you're talking about? Clarify. Dixie's pulling down still, so potentially we're going to get a bit more bullish move. So hard at the minute to pick a direction, it really is. The market is so horribly choppy. So the other indices are up too. Bearish on the Dow. So Dow's filled that gap as well. So these buttons are the price action toolkit, EA. Which you can get from MQL5. So basically just it paints in the opening ranges that you set. So you've got trading buttons. So basically one thing that's missing from NT4 is fast execution buttons. So that's what this does. So it can sell at market, buy at market, close positions, modify stop loss and TPs, move everything to break even averages if you've got multiple positions, or single break evens. You can put sell stops, buy stops, sell stops and buy stops above the last candles, cancel pending orders and close your most profitable positions. And obviously you can change where you put your stop loss. You can have the last candle, this candle, or a pip amount, and you can adjust the pip amount and the risk per position. So it's all completely calculated for you. So you literally don't have to think about anything. You just want to say, I want to do 0.25% every time I take a trade, and I want to enter there with a stop there, and it will automatically calculate your position sizing for you. It does trailing stops. You've got different exit strategies, so it will automatically get you out of positions when you hit a certain percentage. You can scale into positions automatically, so as price moves in your direction, it will add positions for you. It will do price action candlestick patterns, as you can see here. So this is an IRB, bearish engulfing, inventory of retracement bar, that is basically, which is a pullback candle with a long wick. It's all explained on the page. I'll send you a link to it. You can read up. Oops. And obviously we'll do auto trading for you as well if you want it to. So you could say to it to automatically trade candlestick patterns based in on a moving average, and you can change lot sizing. You can use ATR instead of positions. Just got stopped out on that one on the pullback. So yeah, it does lots of stuff. But I built it because it is missing. I'm a position trader, so I trade higher time frame charts. Normally I'm trading hourly and 4 hourly charts with entries on M15 and M5, but I'm holding positions and building positions in line with trend, bias, etc. But at the moment I'm scalping, and the MT4 just doesn't have the facility to scalp. You can do that and you can do that, but it won't put a stop loss or a TP in place for you. And you saw me mucking about earlier, trying to use this button. It was like, right, okay, I want to get in with a pending order. My pending order needs to be at a level, and then my stop needs to be at, and by the time you've done all of this, you've missed the trade. So these buttons basically are, right, get me in short if we break this low. Bang, done. Yeah. Cancel it, don't fancy it anymore. So that's why I built it, because it doesn't exist. And it should do, because in all futures or stock trading software, you have fast order execution. You need it because the market moves quick, as we saw there. If you saw that candle and you were in profit and you wanted to get out of that position fast, you don't want to be going, all right, hang on, let me get in here. It's this one, click. Just want to hit a button and be done with it. UK puts sanctions on Abramovich. Wow, where's that? Is that on? I haven't got my news on this morning because I was so late to the desk this morning. I haven't got my news up. That's just landed, is it? That's not had any impact. People don't care about that. They're more interested in who's going to buy Chelsea. So market structure shift looks like potentially we're going long now. Up to there. So this to me looks like we're just going into rotation. So I'm probably going to leave it there for today, for the morning session anyway. Done pretty well this session. Still got oil running. Got 1,300 banked. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to scalp this anymore this morning because we could do anything from here. The move's over. We've got the opening range low, 90-minute. So basically we did the 90-minute opening range within the first sort of 25 minutes today, 30 minutes. So potential today now is just anywhere in this range. So guess is as good as mine on it. CNBC just said that, did they? Still out on a walk, but popped up on the phone, yeah. So that's basically, I'm just going to call it a morning there. Be back this afternoon to trade the New York session. So plan for this afternoon, 12:45, obviously. It's all hitting before New York Open. So 12:45, we've got the euro rates. Talk in the wind about potentially not being zero. They're obviously not going to go negative. So rate increase may or may not happen. We don't know. And obviously then monetary policy statement off the back of that. Then we've got the ECB press conference at 1:30, followed by CPI, or as CPI is released. CPI will have an impact on the US dollar. So I'm going to be trading euro US dollar because we are going to have the potential, if we get two news events happening with the same bias, we're going to have potential for an absolutely astronomical move on that pair today. So if the rates come out and we get a big move on the euro, and then in the ECB press conference, Lagarde comes out and says something that is bullish or bearish in line with whichever move we had, and CPI comes out with a directional bias in the same direction, we're going to get huge movement. Either way, we're going to get volatility. So I'm planning to trade euro US dollar, and strategy basically is just to straddle where we are. So that hourly drop we've just basically taken out everybody in Asia. So anybody that's entered the market short in Asia today has just gone. Anybody that's entered the market long in Asia today has gone. So we're running in a wide accumulation, and that's where we're going to stay in London until that news is released. So the straddle trade today at the moment would be short there, long there, and see where we go. So you're either going to get one of two things happening. We're going to get a sweep of yesterday's high and then a reversal, or we're going to go out the gates and just fly, or we're going to get them basically doing that first this morning and then bringing it back ahead of the news, and then likelihood is we're going to get the drop. They may well come down and take out the liquidity at the lows and then fly off to the highs. We don't know. No one knows what is going to happen. But at the moment, the likelihood is we will get a sustained move in one direction or the other off the back of these news events. So if that one gets stopped out, that one will get in. If they both get stopped out and I'm retraced back to the middle, I'll put pendings on again and wait for the move. because the thing we could also see is obviously the ECB press conference is not something where they're releasing a number. It's Lagarde talking through what has happened with the monetary policy statement and future plans. So it comes down to a lot of the times with these things, the press conference, where people are asking questions to get clarification, and then all of a sudden she'll say something, and then it'll be like, right, now the market knows what it needs to do, and then you'll get a move which happens sort of 10 or 15 minutes after the press conference has started. So that's the plan. Fairly low risk, going to keep it sort of 0.25%, because obviously the reward is going to be 1 to 2% on the move potentially, and I will add to the position as it moves. So that's the plan for the euro this afternoon, euro US, and I'm going to leave the indices alone for the rest of the morning. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that, and then I'll be back at 2:00, and then obviously we will look at where we are and what's happening ahead of the New York session. But at the moment, as you can see with everything across the board, and let me just remove those pending orders. I don't want them in yet. Don't want them getting triggered before the news. We're pulling back off the 50 again. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to trade it. So yeah, everything at the moment, obviously, we are kind of sitting inside a range. So we'll see what happens with these. But I suspect we'll just get the indices kind of hovering for the morning session while we're waiting for something to happen at lunchtime. So same with the US dollar. It's pulled back inside in the accumulation. So anywho, so that's it. That's the plan for the afternoon. So I'll be back at 2:00 as usual. If you need anything, come into the Telegram group. I will be in there. If you like the stream, give us a thumbs up, and obviously subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I come on every morning, 7:50 in the morning, and 2:00 in the afternoon ahead of the New York session. So yeah, I will see you guys this afternoon, hopefully. Have a good morning. Hopefully you made some money off these moves on the DAX this morning and the other indices, and I'll be back at 2:00. Have a good morning.